Alrighty, what's up guys? I'm going to show you how to make my rock sling. I got one here that I just made. I'll go ahead and show you how. This is a pretty short one I'm going to show you today. It's a beginner sling. It's a good short sling. I prefer starting off with a shorter sling because I think it's easier to learn how to throw it. But you'll see here you got your loop end, and then in your pouch here you got a thick end. I want you to notice that. Take note of that, a thick end, and it tapers down to a V. And then you have your knot end, which is a nice little bead. Nice little bead here. So, got some paracord here. What you're gonna do, you're gonna grab it here and leave about that much slack here. You're gonna do your arm span, leave the same amount of slack on the other end. And you're gonna cut it about right here somewhere. It's a lot easier if you got some scissors, by the way. Alright, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna take your paracord, kind of stretch it out. Mess with it a little bit, make sure that you get this outer layer, this outer layer. Make sure everything's nice and straight, there's no kinks or twists in it. Kind of mess with it a little bit, stretch it. You're gonna find the center point. Alright, once you got your center point, you got it pinched here, then you're gonna kind of come down a little bit. You're gonna start making your pouch. You start with the pouch. This is gonna, right when you make the pouch, keep in mind, how big you want the pouch to be. Base it according to the projectiles that you're using, of course. I think this will be a pretty good size right here. So you're gonna go like this, and then like this. And you're gonna pinch it here. You see you got a loop here. You're gonna go around it. And then once you go around that loop, you see this strand here? You're gonna take this and you're gonna put it behind it and through this loop. Let me go ahead and do this one more time so you guys can see it clearly. So you go around and then through this loop here, you're going to have to reach through it and grab it. And then after you pull that up, turn it, make another loop, and then put that loop through this one. That way you can just pull it straight through. After you pull it through, it's going to look a little messy, so you're going to dress the knot. You're going to go like this, kind of pretty it up a little bit. Pull all the individual strands, kind of. Not too tight, you don't want to get too tight just in case you have to untie it. Then you're going to flip it around. And now you got your other side here, and you are going to do the same thing. Go around, through this one, make your loop here, put that loop through this loop, grab your end, pull it through. Now you can kind of stretch it out, make sure they all kind of have even tension on them. Dress this knot as well. You'll see you have 3 strands here. So after you get it tied up basically right, you're gonna take it, wrap your hand here, and give it some really solid yanks. Okay. Now everything's tight. So what you'll see here is you got 2 ways to go. You can take this wide end. If you look at it, this wide end here tapers down to this V, and if you flip it around the other way, this wide end tapers down to this V. So whichever one seems more balanced to you and straight, that's one you want to go with, and you're going to cut the outlier, this extra one. So as far as this sling is concerned, I am liking this one right here, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this one off. So what you're going to do is you take the one you're going to cut off, you isolate it, and you want to leave yourself a little bit of material. Don't cut it too close to the knot because you're going to have to melt it. Cut this end. Alrighty, so that's what we got here. So now what you're going to do is you're going to isolate this knot to where only the fuzzies are sticking up. You're going to kind of twist it a little bit, but make sure you get this isolated to where that's sticking out on its own, because you're going to have to melt this, and when you melt it, you do not want to let the flame touch the rest of the knot, because if you melt through your knot, it can damage the sling. It'll just come apart faster. So you keep the flame away from touching the knot. Just keep it on the fuzzy part. Kind of spin it. Get it nice and melted. And immediately after you take the flame away, take the lighter and smash it flat and shape it. Because it's going to melt, it's going to cool into a hardened plastic. Because this is nylon. You can see it there. Nice and flat. You're just trying to make it to where it can't pull through. Otherwise it'll come apart. The same thing with this side. Kind of isolate the fuzzy things, twist them, get it to a nice little shape. Shape up the plastic here. Alrighty, and there we go. So another thing I want to say, when you're melting this plastic here and you're shaping it, try to keep this plastic off of the pouch. You don't want it rubbing into there. So when you shape it, kind of push the melted plastic up towards the knot more instead of down into the pouch part of the sling, because it'll be rubbing and it can wear a hole out into it after so long. So usually after I get this part out, what I'll do is I'll grab it and do the same thing. Yank it. And what that does is it'll pull any of the excess slack out and kind of square it up and straighten it out, make it more balanced. And there we go. So the next step you're going to do is your loop end. And your loop, like I said earlier, is always going to be on the fat end where your finger is, because the sling design tapers down. It's thick to thin. The knot's on the thin end, so we're going to go ahead and tie your loop for your finger. So you're going to get about this much slack here. You go like this, and you go around once, around twice, and then you're going to come through the bottom of the loop, and you're going to go over this wrap that I'm touching and grab this loop here. You pull it through. And when you pull it through, kind of grab this one and pull this one through. And do this part slowly, and you can adjust the size of it to fit your finger. Adjust it to your finger. Kind of pull all these strands, pull this one, pull this one. You'll see each one that you pull, you'll see where it connects and what it's tightening. And dress the knot. You want this knot to be really pretty. This is actually called the perfect loop. And the reason that I use this knot is because the output of it is really balanced on the knot. It's not off to the left or off to the right. It comes out straight. I want everything to be perfectly centered and balanced. So you get it roughly where you want it. Pull off sides of the strands. I like it to be pretty snug on my finger. I don't want it falling off my finger, because once I put it on a certain point in my finger, I want it to be tight enough to where it stays there. And usually when I throw, I don't put it in a crease on my finger like here. I put it slightly like in the middle, in between these two creases. So then I'll pull it tight. I'll grab yours for my cheese. Pull all sides of it, get it nice and tight. And after you get it tight, you can kind of shape it, push up on the bottom here with your thumb. Just shape the knot into a nice little bead, nice little circle. Twist it, get it nice and straight. And then the same process as before. Leave enough material so you can melt it, because you're going to cut this end off here. Hold on a second, I'm having issues here. Isolate the knot and the fuzzies. Flatten it out. All right. And that's what you're left with. A perfect little loop that's nice and balanced. Comes down to the thick end of your sling, of your pouch here, down to a V, and now we will adjust it. We will balance your, we're going to set your knot, pinch knot. So you're going to put your finger Put your thumb in the middle of your pouch, dead center. Grab the other end after you position it on your finger according to how you throw, how you sling. And then you're gonna pinch it where these two are. You gotta get these two knots here level with each other. And then you pinch it where it's at, where your thumb naturally wants to pinch the knot. Now once you get it straight like that, then you keep track of this area and you're going to tie a half hitch, just a regular knot, half hitch. And then you want to keep track of that spot and make sure that your knot ends up on it. All right, let's see. You got to check it to make sure that it's balanced where you want it. So I got it pinched here. Make sure it's the way that I want it. And that is actually pretty straight. I've been doing this for a minute, so I've gotten pretty used to how to set that knot, but this can be the most trickiest part, is getting that knot where you want it. You might have to do it a few times, but make sure you take your time to get it balanced just right, because if it's unbalanced, that's gonna mess you up. So after you get your knot, you pull it, loosely. You don't tighten it too much when you first tie it. Now what you're gonna do to this knot, you could just pull it tight on both ends and call it quits, but what you wanna do is you wanna shape this knot into a little bead. So you're gonna take your knot here. You see this bottom wrap here? You put your thumb on it, on the paracord here, right there, and you push up on it like that. And you just roll this end up. So first pull it tight, and then roll it up, pinch it forward, and then flip it around the other way and do the same thing on the roundabout here. Do the same thing. Just push both ends up into each other. Okay, there we go. Now you're going to repeat the whole melting process here. Alright, here's your knot. You just go ahead and get the little fuzzies, start melting. Kind of look at your knots always and plan where you're going to push the melted plastic ahead of time. Just kind of look at it and see where you want to go with because this is going to help shape it into a bead as well. You can push the plastic where you want it. This one here, it doesn't matter if you hit the knot really, because like I said, you're trying to make a little bead to grip onto. I'll push it all this way. There's a little crack over here that it fits into. But on your knot here, you want to make sure there's no sharp edges, because it will start cutting into your finger after so much time. And on the last time here when I do it, just kind of lick your finger and really round it off. But if you lick your thumb and immediately push it down, it won't burn you, and you can make it perfectly flat to the bead that you just made. Try to get the camera to focus on it. There you go. So it's a nice little bead there. If you do it right, you can really get that to be like a hardened little bead. It's something to grip onto. It's, make sure it's a good little thing to grip, because that has everything to do with your aim. It's being able to feel that knot, so you can release it when you want to, and it doesn't slip through your fingers because you're throwing really hard. And here it is. Finished result. I'm pinching it right here where I throw. I hold it like this. I just simply keep my fingers like that, and I pinch the knot right here. You'll see here. It's nice and balanced. Now, if it's a little bit off, let's say if it's a little bit off, you can kind of like in your throw, if you see that it's a little bit off, you can kind of adjust it by moving this finger and your thumb. But yeah, there it is. This is a good little sling, and try it out. Tell me if it works out for you guys. Thank you.